Music is an integral part of life. It's used in different medium, in different walks of life. And especially in theatre, music plays an important role. On the Thesis today, I am honored to have a close friend of mine who is a dramatist. He's in theatre, he's in academics, and more importantly, he has just finished his doctorate in a very special field that is dear to me as well, in music. And apart from all that, he is known to me since the last century. Well, that doesn't mean he's old, but welcome to the show, Saish Deshpande. So I'm still getting used to saying Dr. Saish Deshpande to you.
Thanks, Bambino. It's a pleasure always talking to you because you contribute so much, and the flow of knowledge just begins when I hear your voice.
Oh yes, that's what he always says. Like, no, yes. Saish, tell us about the title of your thesis.
I have done my research on the traditional theatre form of Goa, that is Kalo, and folk theatre form of Goa, that is Gauda Zagor, with special reference to music. You know, Indian theatrical elements, you know, they cannot be complete without dance and song.
Right.
Because it's an integral part of any performance all over India. Similarly, in Goa, we have so many folk as well as traditional theatre forms, which have taken the heritage of that musical element. So in all of our theatrical forms, we feel we require the element of music. When I say music, it does not mean anything that is musical or through the classical point of view.
Yeah, not only instruments but also.
But music in theatre means any designed or well arranged sound. Basically, all our theatre forms are lyrical forms. It's only after 18th, 19th century that we started incorporating realistic sentences and phrases, as in dialogues, or realism came. But before that, we were mostly into stylization. So everything was lyrical. Many a times the central character would recite the story and the actors would enact. And I'm very happy that I suddenly discovered that Goa has a rich heritage of theatrical form called Pirni Zagor, which was performed by the Pirni community, and that had a central character, and they used to visit villages and perform.
So this started in Perne, or was it?
No, Pirni is the name of the community.
Okay.
So
this was predominantly in which part of Goa?
Basically, we find Pyrenees now in north as well as Konkan, but that time they were all, you know, in the Konkan belt.
Okay.
So we could maybe south of Sindhudurg to north of Karwar. These areas they would go move about, and they were good musicians also.
Okay.
So anything that was to be performed was recited musically. They had their limited instruments.
So there would be one person who would be doing the recitation.
Coordinating,
okay.
Yeah. And with his cue, the characters would enter and exit.
Okay. And they had nothing to say. They wouldn't be. There's no dialogue.
Very few sentences, like exclamations or any. In between, they would say something and then exit and all.
Okay.
But basically, it was the central character who would coordinate the entire performance. That musical heritage has been carried down. We can see it in Gauda Zagar also. Then later we see it in Kalo, as we call it Shankasur Kalo or Rat Kalo. Then we find it in all of our performing elements. We find that part in our rituals in Goa.
All right.
None of our rituals can be complete without the musical. I wouldn't call it, you know, many times we look at our theatrical music from the point of view of the classical structure. No, it's not that. Music in theatre goes on changing as per the situation, as per the requirement of the character. So scale can change, the tempo can change, the rhythm can change, even the notes. We may, after learning music, we may say that he's off note, or as we say, besur zalo. But no, that's not the case. In theatre, it goes according to the emotion of the scene. So that's what we call as theatre music. And we find this not only in Perni Zagar, but later on Gauda Zagar, it is very strongly evident. We can see Gauda Zagar even now, we are lucky enough. Then in Kalo, it has a semi-classical influence also. So there are intricate rhythm patterns. There is so much of melody introduced. And later on as we come, then Christian Zagor, even Ranmale, Bharnul, and of course Theatre. It's all based on music. Goan Kani is what we call it. The story
Singing
cannot be
story.
complete without a musical note.
Yeah. So maybe that will bring me to a rewind question for you. If I may ask you, were you introduced to music first, or being on as a theatre artist?
No, I was introduced to theatre through music.
Okay, so that happened when you were in school, college, or at home?
Yeah, when I was in school in Panjim, my tabla sir, Pandit Prabhakar Chari, he used to take us around villages, and even Kala Akademi was in Panjim that time. So they had a folk program, and he took me there. He used to always take all his students and ask us to see how the rhythms are applied to performing arts. That's a different thing.
Yes, that's a different thing. Yeah, because normally you just sit in a room and you play the tabla. Okay,
and
this tal, that tal.
Yeah, and we play according to our mood.
Right.
We increase the tempo according to our need.
Yes.
But he said rhythms are always applied somewhere. And look at these folk performing arts, how they imbibe the musical element, how the tempo, the mood changes according to the rhythm.
Right.
So that's where I was attracted to,
the music in theatre.
For theatre. For theatre. Later on, as I went to the college, there always used to be many people to act, but no one to do lights or background music and all. So I wanted to experiment. So there were plays in the beginning where I experimented only with live rhythm section, like a dholak, a tabla, or any small drum.
So you used to play that, or you had your...
I had my friends
okay.
who used to coordinate according to the scene and all. But that was very elementary, that was very raw, very rustic. Later on then I started introducing musical note into it. But according to the need of the play, not just a decoration. So it's from that stage that I really developed. Then I started thinking, if this is the music that I'm giving, why isn't the actor acting it that way? I'm supporting him with this music. Why isn't the director trying to design it this way? So I became a music designer director. So slowly I started directing my own plays. Then I joined Kala Akademi School of Drama, which was a 3 years course. I specialized into production and direction, and I did my background music there. I was very lucky enough to get teachers like B.V. Karant, then Ashok Ranade. These are stalwarts in theatre music, and they found that I was more interested into that, and not many people are. So they trained me into what and how should music be applied for Indian theatre forms, because whatever that we do now is through the proscenium point of view. So it's almost European or Western or realistic. But then he said no. I remember Ranade sir saying that each clap on the stage, each foot sound is a part of sound design and part of music. So design it in such a way that you, the spectators, the viewers, shouldn't know that the music has been introduced and it has gone off. So that's how I started from music, from classical music to folk music to theatre direction, and finally academics.
Yes. So that means your journey has been like, going nice and smooth, and then you completed your studies, everything.
Nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth. Just like a nice thal that goes. So when did you say, you completed your doctorate 2 years back, or?
No, I started my compilation,
Okay.
because there is no documentary evidence available about the musical patterns of Goan theatre forms. I mean, it's an oral tradition. So there are recordings available, but no one has written about them. You find at randomly someone just mentioning that these are the instruments used and all. But the melody patterns, traditionally they used, what they used, how did they change the scales, ताचेर कांय नासलें. So I had to do a lot of field study. That I started in 2005.
Okay.
So since then I have been attending these folk performances, these traditional performances, recording them, interviewing those people, the musicians, the scholars, finding out what could be the purest form, what has been added later on. So after doing all this, in 2015 All India Radio, I produced a serial for them called Dais Lok Natkache. In that I recorded all the basic rhythm and musical patterns of these forms. And then I directed a play based on these forms and composed music for that. And I found out how it actually is applied. But these plays we presented in the proscenium because obviously we couldn't present them in the village. But then I slowly accumulated all this
information,
things, and then I compiled it. So my PhD research started in 2016 or 17.
Right.
But the compilation began
which was
in
like
2005.
a building block for you. You needed that.
Yeah.
So let's tell our viewers, because Saish completed his PhD and he is affiliated to the Shivaji University in Kolhapur. So tell us how the process is, like, in case we have any of our viewers who would be interested, like, finding a guide. You had to be there, go there personally, meet your guides.
Yeah, basically I did my masters through Shivaji University because that time we didn't have a master. We still don't have masters in Goa. So I completed my masters in performing arts there, through Shivaji University, and then they had some certain seats for PhD because there was a guide there. Then,
but before you tell us about the PhD seats, what are the other courses that are available? Like, as far as performing arts are concerned, like, in
Shivaji University we have music and theatre, drama.
Okay.
So there are courses available for dance also, but they are in Mumbai, Pune, so that way. But basically performing arts is divided into three forms: music, dance, and drama. I specialize into dance, drama. I mean.
Drama, yeah.
And through Shivaji University, then we had those seats, so we applied, and they ask for your topics first. What topic would you want? They found this topic interesting because basically research on theatre music is very less in India.
Yeah. And
on that also Goan traditional and folk theatre forms, that they found very interesting. We had one meeting with the committee, then there was a kind of entrance test. But meanwhile I had also completed my national eligibility test, that is NET in theatre. So I didn't have to give the basic exam.
Test, yes.
I was directly for the PhD entrance test. So after that we had a discussion with the panel.
all right.
That time I had to convince them that this source of information on which I am going to base the PhD is already with me.
Yeah.
It is there because they wanted to know from where I am going to get the knowledge, from where I am going to accumulate. Because in Maharashtra, theatre forms of Maharashtra, there are some documents, but in Goa it's not there, except for certain sections, like the structure of the play or the form. How the music should be composed, how it is composed, what are the traditional melody patterns. ताचेबद्दल खंयच कांय ना. So that's what they wanted to know. So I had to convince them that I have a recording, and since I'm from the audio field, I have recorded and kept them, kept it everything safely. And I'm very happy that with the thesis I have also attached the audio. Recordings also, and I'm going to even upload them on the Google Drive, so anyone from anywhere in the world can really access the melody patterns and know about what is there, because times are changing fast and these melody patterns are disappearing.
Because this folk art is kind of getting overshadowed by the newer forms of music.
Lot many. Our lifestyle is changing, and that is the only reason why we are losing, or maybe we are changing or transforming, anything you can call it. But the fact remains that those original melodies are disappearing.
Right. So, Saish, apart from being on theatre, drama, music, what are the other things that you dabble in, as a hobby?
As a hobby, I like to write. But I'm not a
Poems
good writer.
or
No, plays.
Plays, okay.
I like to write. Then I like to.
Have you tried? You also act, right?
Yeah.
You prefer acting or directing?
Direction.
Okay.
Because acting requires a different temperament. It has to be in you. By hearting the dialogues, then delivering them. It's a different training process altogether. I began as a musician and a music designer, so I never tried myself
getting on stage.
Yeah, on stage. But I do act sometimes.
In case somebody doesn't turn up, then
yeah, that I can do.
Then you have to wear his shoes and get on.
Yeah, but not the major character.
Not the major one.
I cannot carry it. It's easy for me to.
You prefer the kitchen scenes?
Yeah, yeah, just where I can chai tayar hai. But directing a play is a process, but performing in a play is a different ballgame.
It's a different ballgame. That's right. Fantastic. It's been amazing pleasure to speak to you. So, with your thesis, I'm sure it's going to open up a new kind of a chapter for music in theatre and art and drama together. What would it be that you would like our listeners or the viewers to kind of learn from that?
Yeah. And, after going through the process of compiling information, one thing that I found out was our youngsters are not attending these performances in the villages, in your cities, wherever you are. So I would really appeal to all our youngsters, all our teachers also, to take their students and the youngsters also to go to the villages, attend these festivals, these annual rituals, so that those who are performing, those who are really carrying it out through generations, they feel that they are important. It's not that just because it is crude or it's rustic, it is not important. I know we have television, we have OTT platform, we have many things. We have 70 screen, but our traditional theatre forms, our folk theatre forms, and all performing art forms need to survive because they are our heritage. It's from them that we'll know who we were and what we need to be, because that's what we are going to give to the next generation. So please attend this shows, these performances, wherever they are. Festa Satyatra asu, Festa Chen Natak asu, or Kalo asu, Zatra. Attend, appreciate, and try to carry it out to your next generation. That's all.
Yes, Saish, thank you very much, because I think in a nutshell you have told everything about our traditional forms of,
I hope I
yes, you have, and to our viewers wherever you are, I'm sure Saish is going to be an inspiration for all of us who are watching this program, and maybe somebody who'd like to also complete maybe a master's in dramatics, art, music, dance form. You'll also get more information about it and give it a new lease of life, I think, right? So, Saish, it's been a pleasure always.
Thanks, Bambino.
Pleasure indeed to meet you and to share your time. So those of you who would like to follow us, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're watching it on YouTube. ccrtvgoa@gmail.com is our email address as well. If you have any of your friends or family who've completed their PhD or doctorate in any field, please feel free to get in touch with us so that we can show to the world exactly what the hard work that you have put in. What do you say, Saish?
Yeah, of course. Yes. And academics is required to know where have we reached and where we need to go.
Yes. For the moment, it's time for us to leave and go. We say adios for the moment. Take good care of yourselves on the thesis. This is your host Bambino saying bye-bye along with Saish Deshpande, Dr. Saish Deshpande.
Devare Guru.
Yeah, bye-bye.